That's a super long intro. Welcome, everybody, to the ASC Colony live stream. I'm Adam Jewell. That's Brendan Traxler. I know you guys haven't seen us in a while, so I thought it would be good for me to reintroduce you guys to us. So,
like 2 weeks.
It's been a long time.
2 weeks.
It's basically the last time I've had an actual conversation with you, so it's been a while.
Fair enough.
How you been? You've been busy as all get out the past month.
Yeah, just lots of personal stuff going on. Just busy. Finally starting to slow down a little bit. So
you make it sound like when you say personal stuff, like bad things, because usually when people are like, "Oh, like I'm out because of personal things," like means there's problems. But you've been doing a lot of like helpful things, is what you've been doing. Like you've been helping a lot of people out.
Maybe
so it's not like you're like, like I don't know. I don't have a good example, but sorry. Anyways.
A lot of soul searching.
Is but everything you said is kind of starting to calm down a little bit for you.
For now.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting ready to go into the holiday season. You know, everybody's always hectic the holiday season stuff anyway. So that's all starting next month. So who knows what's a month. So yeah, well, I'll address that a little bit later. But yeah, well, what have you been up to?
Just work, man. Working. Dealing with babies, and by babies I mean like a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old, but still they're my babies.
That's like, is there something you need to be telling us?
No more babies.
But, Glenn is already chiming in here, and he says, "Hey, well, I have some personal things, and it's not bad. I'm not even sure I want to know what he's talking about on that."
I do.
Well, you two can like talk about it off camera, I guess. I mean,
the biggest news, and you can't see. I did buy a snail for my aquarium, so that's pretty big news here at the Jewel household. So, but
Brendan can sub in for me for sure. I'm not that old, dude, and my hair's not all right. So the beard's starting to get more gray than I like.
You get a little salt and pepper in your.
I told my sister, I need to get some just for men's. I'm gonna get the jet black and go in there, or do the Hogan with its black and blonde.
No, that would look terrible.
I might just take it all off.
That would look pretty bad too. You're one of those people that when you don't have facial hair, you look really weird.
Oh, young, like a baby.
Santa is in the soul, man. Halloween's not even here yet. I don't even want to think about it.
I hate holidays, so there's no way I'm going to play Santa Claus. I don't like to be touched either, so I definitely don't want a bunch of kids sitting on my lap.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way. I really don't care for holiday season. I don't care what holiday is. I don't care for it because every holiday is like always supposed to be a joyous time and all that. And every holiday is stressful, especially like when you have like a bunch of family things to do, or if you have multiple family things to do. It's no longer like a joyous thing. Maybe when you're a little kid, all that stuff is just fine because all you got to do is just tag along and show up. But
now that we put everybody in a great mood to start this podcast, this episode off here.
Yeah. Welcome to the ASC Colony. We hate Christmas.
No. So, I will preface, because we're starting to get people in here and stuff on those lines. One reason I did the 5-minute countdown was for this reason. It seems like people always straggle in here. I figure if we got a 5-minute countdown, it gives people a little bit more time to know we're on, to get in here. But also I wanted to open this one up because it seems like every other one we're doing right now is just kind of open forum for people to talk about that. And we had one of our people who joined us last time, he was wanting to know when we're going to do because he had some stuff he wanted to talk about. So don't know if that's going to happen or not, but I want to leave this one open here for a public forum for people to talk about whatever we want to talk about as far as ocean, underwater stuff, all that cool stuff. Not about how we hate holidays and put everybody in a Debbie Downer state, or that I've got some gray in my beard. Babe's like, I can't wait to decorate a habitat with Christmas stuff. You can decorate your own because I'm not having no Christmas stuff in my habitat.
That's another box that you have to carry in there, and then that's like just like a house. You have to find somewhere to store that crap for the rest of the year. The rest of the 50
just leave your lights up all year round.
See, what you could just do is get some of those like colored LED strips that you can just change the color, and then you could just like celebrate any holiday. Like you just turn them orange during Halloween and all that. That's the way things should be going now. I could probably get behind more of it with that.
Yeah.
Simplicity.
So while people are formulating questions or comments or whatever like that, I will go into a little bit. So the outside will look like a Christmas tree. Oh, whatever. I mean,
You can do what you want with yours, babe.
No, looking at 2023. Obviously, at this point in time, short of a miracle happening, we're not going to have the funds and stuff to be able to start any kind of construction this year. Yes. Glenn says you two kids need to lighten up. So anyway, so looking at 2023, what our focus is, what do we need to hold back on? What do we need to do differently? And how we need to address that. So I've been working on that. Haven't even talked to Adam about this. It's just what I've been going through my head, writing stuff down, trying to figure out what we need to look like next year and what that's going to look like. So I'll be discussing with Adam and Babe here in probably the next couple of weeks or something along those lines. But I'm just trying to figure out what I want that to look like. So that's kind of why where I'm at with everything right now. And so, yeah, Adam, what do you got? Because I'm just kind of, like I say, I've been so, like all the personal stuff, just been so busy for the last several weeks. I haven't had time to focus on almost anything except for work. Where else has been going on? Sleep, and then rinse, repeat.
Family, work, family,
which has been a big part of it. Yeah,
yeah. Which that's part of the work is the family.
that is very true. That's why. Yeah.
Big old muscular Brendan helped his grandma move the other day and just pulled out them 24-inch pythons and just
brother.
But no,
but
yeah.
Glenn's like, do you have any specific goals? Have you shared them with others? And so that's going to be part of it, honestly, Glenn. Is to dive deeper, no pun intended, dive deeper into that, how that looks. I will say this: over the past several weeks, I have met with 2 different investors. Sat down. One of them was at 1:00 in the morning because he was over in Europe, and then the other one was here in the United States. And we talked for a quite good bit about what we're doing and stuff along those lines. And I'll dive a little bit deeper into that. Maybe not tonight, unless you guys we get to that. We have time where we got to talk about it, but that too. So, but yeah, and that was really part of this. How we need to look different because they gave some really good insight about what we're doing and what we need to be doing differently and stuff along those lines. So we'll talk about that. What's Babe got here? I know it's not where you want it to be, but things have visibly snowballed in the right direction. I hope so. I mean, we're like anything, we got more notoriety. Babe, you've been a big portion of that. I had a good talk with, I went to Alabama last weekend just to get away. I was able to hang out with a friend from high school who's been fairly successful. And we're just able to talk life, business, a bunch of stuff like that. He's given me some really good, interesting feedback and things to think about too. That is playing into all this as well. So lots going on up here and how to direct that and how to direct the business. So yeah, we go ahead, Adam. Sorry I cut you off there.
No, I was just basically going to say what Babe just said is that's like, obviously we're not near where we wanted to be, but I do agree that we've made leaps and bounds as far as like getting more establishment, I guess. And I think we're building a really good foundation with what we have right now. And I think even though like it keeps taking a while for us to find the right people, that's what we've talked about every time that we're on, is finding the right people to get involved in this. But it seems like while we're waiting for that, all we're doing is solidifying what we're doing at the same time, where it's just like, you know, when I first came on to help you, I mean, you probably would have thought that you already had a pretty good idea of what you wanted to do, but even then, like a lot of things have changed, and new ideas and new approaches, different strategies. And I think we're kind of at the point where it's like we have, like I said, a good foundation of what we want to do. Yeah, we're always going to try different strategies and different things, whatever we can do to move this forward. But the belief in what we have, I think, is strong. It's been solidified. Like, we know that the concept of what we have is good. We know that what we are working on is obtainable. It's realistic. It's I don't know, within reach is the best way to put it. We don't, like I said, in the very beginning, it was probably like we had a lot of like, well, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
how are you going to do this? I don't know. And then like, figuring it out as you went along and stuff. So even if it keeps taking a while, it's only going to give us more opportunities to, like I said, solidify it to where when those people come to us with questions, we're even more confident in what we're doing.
And I think to that point too, even to this point, even through our live stream and stuff like that, we've had a bunch of good stuff that's come in through here that hasn't necessarily changed the design elements of the thing, but has really made me rethink some business structures and business policies and stuff along those lines too. What makes me feel good about the thing is I'm finally at a point where I see other people's renditions of underwater habitats and don't like, ooh, man, I want to incorporate that, or ooh, I want to do that, because I'm so solid in what we have right now that it's, like you said, it's doable. And I believe at a financial standpoint, and it's repeatable too. A lot of what's out there are beautiful designs, but they're going to be expensive to build, and it's going to be one-offs. Now, I'm not saying that version 3 of our underwater habitats aren't more, they look better. They're not going to be, what's the word I'm looking for?
Intricate.
Yeah, artistic a flair to this whole thing. But for right now, trying to build the business and get that foundation, I'm very comfortable with that. It's just,
Yeah, and God, what was I going to throw on top of that? Where it's just like, I always keep thinking of like, once we're going, like, obviously we need to get going. Like, we need to be able to get that first one started. But and I've ran some ideas by you and stuff, but like, I've already figured out how we can easily manufacture these things. Like, the repeatability and being able to like be cost effective with it. Like, I know how we can do it. Like, I know how, like, after we get the first one or first couple built, how like we can like pump these things out. Like, right. I'm so confident in that thing. Like I said, we have to get to this point, and I'm already, thinking over here, and it's just like, I don't like this part because this is the toughest part. But man, I'm like, I feel like we're going to be so like successful once we get to the next part, because it's just going to be like, all right, now that we've established it, we're going. Like, we're going to take off running with this thing. So,
I mean, you say that, and I agree, but per Elon Musk, he says the scaling and the manufacturing is the hardest part of the whole thing too. So yeah. We'll see. What's Glenn got here? He says, set a timeline, drive for it, don't accept less. If it's short, reevaluate and reset the goals, involve others, do what you are doing, and keep all avenues open for talented financial groups and individuals. It was a solid basis to get it done unless something does not happen soon. I agree. And I think that a lot of what you're saying in there is points of failure that I have had in the past that has maybe limited where we're at. Yeah, the timeline thing, I think, it hasn't been solid enough in some instances, and that hasn't forced us to drive harder. So yes, I agree. And you continue on, even if the first one fails, you will gain notoriety and ask for help for someone who has done it. We all would love to help. I agree. And that's really the whole point of the first one. The first several is it's going to be one of those things where, I'm not trying to sound like Elon Musk, as much as we talk about and stuff along those lines, where he's always expecting failure and stuff along those. But I do. There's going to be points of failure, and we'll learn from it, and we'll go on. I think that I agree with Musk in that standpoint, that I think it's cheaper and smarter to do it that way than spend tons of time and money going through all the avenues and perfecting it and then putting it in the water than to drop something in there, what works and what doesn't work, and go from there, type of thing. Maybe we'll get lucky and what 99% work, and I don't die. So I mean, there is that too, because I will be staying in it. So
something that me and you have been like laughing about lately, but you could almost compare it to is this whole Artemis thing, where it's just like they like keep pushing it out because they keep having all these issues and all that stuff, and they're trying something relatively new in this sense, but they keep like being like, oh, well, this isn't working, this isn't working, this isn't working. Whereas like you look at some of these other companies that have just flat out been like, all right, we're going to, you know, like you said, the trial and error, to where now, you know, companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin and a lot of these other guys that I'm just now learning that there's tons of actually different people that are doing rocket work, that like, this is, you know, it's just like building anything to them. It's just like, yeah, we can just build a rocket. Like, it's not a big deal to us because we've been through so much trial and error, and we weren't afraid to like have a few mistakes along the way, where it's like, you look at this project, it's like, no, we have one shot, that's it. And all this dude, like you said, sinking money into it, sinking more, delays. Obviously we don't want to have like our first thing be like, it's going to break as soon as we send it out. We would love for it to be perfect the first time, but you have to have some realistic expectations too.
Yeah. Glenn's like, I would like to get this done before I die. Well, yes, Glenn. I don't expect you to be keeling over anytime soon either, so I'm sure we're going to be fine in that avenue. But I think that I will say that I think part of the stuff that's going around in my head right now is going to definitely involve more people like most of the people who hop in here all the time. We've got a great Discord community, but I don't think all of them necessarily get the vision, see the vision, and are on board with it as much as the people who are dedicated the time and coming in here.
Ignore my comments there. Sorry, I thought that comment was going on the link that I shared on my personal Facebook. I didn't know it'd go on the actual live stream, but quick side note, I'm wearing a t-shirt for one of my teachers from high school. She's having some battles with cancer right now, kicking its butt right now, but you know, bought a shirt to support her. So sorry, that was the distraction in that, but continue.
So anyway, so I think we will be making a video here. Maybe, I don't know if it'll be the next one or not. And it may be actually here.
You're the best, Mrs. Manley. It's my favorite teacher. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, so we will be making a special video dedicated to all this that's going down. Like I said, it probably won't be our next video we do, but talking about what the future of Atlantic City Colony, the future of all things underwater that we're involved with, as it may be more than Atlantic City Colony. I don't know yet, and stuff along those lines, and how that all ties in. So, yeah, stay tuned. I don't want to get you guys like hyped up like I got this great life-saving, world-saving situation here, but like, there's been a lot of comments that have come through the live stream over the past couple of months have definitely maybe rethink some things, and in a positive way. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, it's not.
You don't see the almost excitement, but I'm trying to be. Yeah,
there's no shame in having a business plan that has to alter direction a little bit if it's working in direction that's only going to be progressive in it. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you're constantly trying to hammer down the same road that wasn't going to get you anywhere, then you're wasting so much time and effort.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you might have to try turning off into some different roads and venturing down those to see what happens.
Yeah. I say, there's lots of evidence we've been looking at him recently with the whole real estate aspect of the thing as far as that possibility. Obviously, the data centers, the more I talk to the investors, they're all interested in the aspect of the the resort and the hotel aspect of the whole thing. That's all they're focused on. Even though when I talk about the other stuff, they see it, but that's not flashy. It's not what they're necessarily looking for, and that's fine. That's the beauty of our designs and our ideas here, is that it encompasses all that.
Well, and I mean, I guess I get it, because people don't really get to experience the data center. The data center is more of a utility, as opposed to you can experience the habitat part of it. You can experience the possibility of the hotel part of it, or research center, or whatever. So, but at the same time, if you found the right investor in the, I guess, tech world, they would probably see that to be the more flashy side to, because they're probably looking at companies like Microsoft right now that have one or two or whatever. I don't know how many they have. Doesn't matter. But they're probably looking like, oh, like, you guys could probably do this at like affordable. Like, you could do this like at a reasonable way. They'll be like, yeah, we could. And so it's just like, it doesn't have to be this grandiose like company to be able to do it. We, be able to make it so it's affordable for, I don't know, anybody that's, I guess, big enough that they would need that resource.
Right. And like Glenn says, money return always drives investors. Absolutely.
And that's the thing where, like, with a data center, your return is going to be your savings on the utilities, where it's just like with the resort part or the habitat part, your return is based off of, like, if you sell them for profit for people to live in, or
Airbnb,
So it's just like, it's different ways you get a income from it from that side, whereas the data center is more of a savings part, where you're saving money and you're not making money, but you're saving it, I guess is the easiest way to put it.
Babe says here that the world is changing fast, and you have to change some things with it. Keep a good foundation and a business plan that's flexible to accommodate changes. Absolutely. And kind of to that point, and kind of what you were saying there, Adam, too, is like, we look at the seasteading programs. A lot of them are taking off. Ocean Builders, Arctide, all these ones are getting a lot of notoriety, and they're really growing, stuff like that. But a lot of them are really doing some weird things too that I'm not sure are going to alienate. But at the same time, it's bringing news their way too, like trying to start their own like blockchain currency. A lot of them are very much into that and stuff like that, which I don't know. But once again, it gets a notoriety. So do we need to be thinking outside the box from that standpoint of having some not weird, but different approach to some of this stuff to get notoriety as well? Because we do decent, but we could do a whole lot better on all aspects, not just the social media front, but everything. So,
well, when you think about it, and maybe I'm wrong, but Ocean Builders probably wouldn't be where they're at today if it wasn't because of the success with a cryptocurrency, essentially. Yeah. I mean, maybe not, but they had someone that was willing to take a huge gamble, and it proved some stuff. Therefore, it was easy, maybe not easy, but easier to get the investors, where, it was a weird way of going about it, really. So it's like, it's not, we look at some of the ways that people have raised money or funded or brought attention to their projects, not even just like the underwater or seasteading stuff, but just projects out there in general, how they've, I guess, brought them to life. And they probably seem super weird to us, but if it pushed them in the right direction, like you said, is it really all that weird if it's helping them out?
Right. And like Glenn asks here, he's like, what is the ultimate goal for Atlantic City Colony? And I think it's the mission statement, which is to make the oceans accessible to everyone by providing underwater hotels, houses, and habitats. And so it's whatever that looks like from the standpoint of, we're just trying to bridge that gap and to make access to the ocean as easy and as simple and as frictionless as possible, so that going from your car to staying underwater is just as simple as you would do anything else. And with all, say, amenities and stuff that you expect on land too. So once again, we're not trying to bash anybody, but it's not a Jules. It's not an Aquarius. It's not any of the habitats that have come before, because you have to scuba dive down to them. They're tin cans. They're not designed for, like the Sea Setters podcast said, the grandma test. So the single atmosphere, you got all your stuff you're normally going to have. That is the ultimate goal, is to make that a completely seamless transition. Is that okay? Sure.
I didn't want to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I do that a lot. So, but no, I mean that's exactly it. We're not trying to be the next Jules or the next Aquarius. We're going to be the first Atlantic sea colony, essentially.
Yeah, because I was like, they both serve their purpose, and but they're both aging habitats too, which they do have a life on them. I mean, you can maintain them for quite a while, but eventually they are going to succumb to time, just like we all will.
Speaking of that, quick side note, with that whole hurricane that just happened down there in Florida, obviously you said that Jules shut down for a little bit, but was it in the path of Aquarius?
I don't think so. No, it seemed to be north of that.
Okay. I can't remember.
Yeah, no, it was all north of that.
Because this one came in a weird direction, this hurricane.
Yeah, they're open. Jules is open again, by the way.
Oh, okay. So it was
they're shooting YouTube videos and stuff there right now. I saw Thane post today.
Yeah. To anybody that's from Florida or in that region or whatever, hope everybody's okay. And I don't know if we have anybody from Florida watching, but I know Babe said, didn't he say he had some rain in his part?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I know he's not in Florida, but I mean, I know it reached up that direction. So
up that direction. Yes, it did. Anyway, did I answer your question, Glenn? Was I clear enough, or do I need to dive deeper into the thing? That's really the elevator speech of Atlantic Sea Colony anyway, is that which is also on the website, which my gut tells me it's time to redesign the website, but I don't have time for that right now. So
you redesign it like every 2 weeks.
I do not.
You did redesign it quite a bit.
I'm never happy.
It's a great looking website, and you don't need to worry about it.
I got too many others I'm working on right now. So yeah, which is also part of the future. Anyway, did anybody else have any input or anything they wanted to add into this evening? Patreon members that are in here or maybe coming in or watching this later, I will hopefully have the new merchandise. Oh shoot, I don't have the hoodie up here. So I bought one that, I don't know to mention it or not. So I bought one of the hoodies from the new merchandise. The zipper was kind of jank on it, and they say usually don't have zipper issues. I did, but the material wise and the print, really good. I'm really enjoying it. So
goofy zipper is all you probably had.
Maybe, yeah, exactly. So
or maybe you don't know how they work.
That could be too. I need Velcro. So yeah, no, I'll have that available for you guys to check out and to order off of if you'd like.
Yeah, I found that I need to get a hoodie ordered. It's starting to become hoodie season.
Yeah, I said the one thing that's been really cool is that a lot of the stuff I was comparison between the old shop and the new shop is the prices for the exact same thing were cheaper on the new shop, and it seems like so far the quality's been a little bit better too. Maybe not. I've only tried one thing, obviously, but it looks better from the pictures. We'll see.
Yeah, I might have to order something this weekend.
Okay.
But
we need to sit down and make sure if I don't have it, I'll have to design it for you so we can get it up on the thing too.
Yeah, I was gonna say because you said you don't have a whole lot of stuff set up quite yet.
Yeah, I think I got like 12 pieces up there.
That, and I keep saying I need a new hat.
I got some leggings for females if there's any females out there that want some ASC leggings, or guys I guess can wear them too.
Let's say I'm like don't be sexist. Guys can wear leggings.
All right, Glenn, lofty goals but need to be defined more clearly with deadlines and goals that met. Investors need business maps with tools available to get there. You need to come to Texas to meet me. Yes, that is my goal that is actually going to be on my goal list for 2023. Is to come to meet the great Glenn. 100%. And so that was part of the thing that we talked about the investors off. Here's we got a little bit of time here. Wait, let me answer Babe real fast here. Is there a live link for the new merch? Yes, there is, but I don't want to put it out in public because I don't want everybody buying it right now. So I'll get it to you after the show here.
Because your staff.
Well, he's a Patreon member.
Well, that too.
Glenn. So here's what the two different investors I talked to. One of them was wanting something immediately. They had bought, like, I don't want to go too much because I don't know how much they want available. But anyway, they were ready for. Actually, they're looking for either a floating hotel or an underwater hotel is what they were looking for, like a resort. And they wanted something right now. So I told them, here's the deal. Nobody's got anything right now in your neck of the woods. Here's the other companies, especially with the seasetting aspect that you may be available to you. I gave them Harley Jackson's information. I'm like, good luck, but I said there's nothing really out there for you guys right now. So that wasn't kind of their big thing. They said, once you guys get something built, let me know because we'll definitely want to add it onto our type of thing. But they say we're just too far out right now. So that's all they had to say, positive or negative. They liked some aspects of it because even from the scientific standpoint and the data center standpoint, they definitely were. I can see the gears were turning. But then the other investor, his concern was more not the dollar standpoint, but was the build up, the team build up, and stuff along those lines. He said, usually he deals with people who have like a board and stuff along those lines, and people that make those decisions. And I guess with being the sole owner and sole provider and stuff like that, it's like he just felt that. Sorry about that. We needed to focus more on internal people for different roles, and he gave me some ideas for those different roles and stuff along those lines before we started trying to raise some crazy money because he didn't feel like the money was the best need for the business at this point in time. So we had two different opinions on different investors. And so, sorry about that. I've been fighting like a cold for like 3 weeks on top of everything else. It's crazy. Just like this little tickle in my throat right here. So anyway, so that was what was said. To your point, the lofty goals. Yes. So we did. We discussed the definite goals that the first, that's phase one with the prototype, and you move into the other ones. We discussed that. Timelines were not shared because timelines were dependent upon funding, and maybe I shouldn't be that way about it. And I think based on your comments tonight, and some of the stuff that's been in my gut that I've been holding back because I want all my chickens in order type of thing. And I think that's the wrong way to be looking at this sometimes, that we just need to take a risk sometimes and move forward and say, here's what we're doing. We're doing it by time and making that happen. And that hasn't been happening in the past. And that's all on me. So Glenn has got, that could be your whale. What could be my whale?
The comment above it.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, absolutely. All this stuff, and maybe that's part of the problem too. I'm not the best salesperson with this type of stuff because I'm trying to be as transparent as possible because I don't want to get involved with people. I want that marriage, whatever it may be, to be one of honesty and transparency. I don't want to be fake about what we're trying to do or where we're at. And I can say the one people I apologize to, I said, I'm sorry if you thought we were further along than we've led off, that we tried to be very clear about where we're at with this whole thing. But it was one of those things where they just saw our name. They were given our name by somebody else that we might be an option for, that type of thing. So everybody's truly cool about this. Like, no, we just didn't know. And we wanted to figure out where you're at and see if there's something we could do and some of those lines. So, yeah, I'm all about honesty to a fault sometimes. Maybe that's why I'm single too. But anyway, yeah. It made sense in my head.
Anyways,
yeah, Glenn. Like I said, this is like the third or fourth investor I've talked to. Yeah, fourth over the last several years. I said the first two investors, like I say, I'm glad that nothing would happen because the business plan was not solid. They were very interested. I think that I was too complacent, especially with the last one. And like I said, the business plan wasn't there. So it was a good thing. And just the more and more we go through, the more I feel comfortable with these negotiations and stuff along those lines too. So one thing that Dennis Chamberlain told me years ago, he's like, you'll go through probably like, I think it's like 20 different investors before you find the right one, because they'll just keep on hitting you. And I had a friend in high school who was talking to investors about he owns some land down in Roatan, Honduras, and talking about he's going to be building a resort down there and meeting with different investors, and how many he told no to, just because the percentages they wanted or it just wasn't the right fit. So it's one of those things of making sure that not going after the money because it's a low hanging fruit, and we want to get this thing built so bad that we'll just take anything. It's got to be the right thing. Yeah, Dennis does know. Dennis is a smart dude.
Well, yeah, and I think to add on to that, you don't want to pursue this project down the wrong path to a point where you don't feel good about the project either, or it's not turning into something that you feel good about anymore because you're pushing it down the wrong path, So that's, like you said, that's why it's important to find the right people to work with on this, because one thing that, I mean, you can apply to anything in your life is if things that you enjoy, all of a sudden you're being pushed in a bad direction on it, like you no longer enjoy those things and it turns into a job, it turns into a burden, and it's no longer something that you're proud of or happy to do or have fun doing,
Yep.
So it's like for this being your one of your life goals, that it's like, you don't want it to become something that you're just like, oh, at least it's getting done. It's like, no, we want it to be something that everybody's happy about, everybody's comfortable with, and at the end of the day, something you're proud of.
Like one of the people I've talked to over the years about underwater habitats and stuff along those lines, that is also their life goals too. When I said, well, hey, if this falls through, what are you going to do? And they basically said, put a gun in their mouth. I don't want to get to that point where it's life or death type of situation either, because that's not a good mental place to be in. Babe says it's important. By the way, it's important to stay. It's important it stays your project and not taken over by 100%. And like I was talking to my former boss, who's also one of my best friends tonight, and him and me both talked about how the lack of wanting money has always hurt us in business. Like he owns an IT company. I helped him start an second IT company with him and stuff along those lines. And our lack of drive for the money didn't let the business grow as fast as it probably could have. Well, I know it could have. And so that might be also a fault that I need to bring in people that have a better greed to an extent, I guess, to grow the business. But, at the same time, because I'm happy just living, I guess, but to make this thing happen, it needs to have some more aggressive people in different roles. And I think that's one thing that the investors didn't say. I'm saying as far as putting the right people out there. But at the same time, yes, that's why having the core values of the company are important, so that it never is about the money. We all want to have money and be taken care of, and stuff like this will make us wealthy. But that can't be the reason we're doing it.
Right.
The only reason we're doing it. Let me put it that way. Whatever. Anything else you want to add, Adam?
Nothing I can think of. I think you put that very well.
Well, thank you. I tried. Well, that's the case. I mean, if you want to start going down the old rabbit trail of wrapping her up, you're more than welcome to them. We can just hop in here and chat as need be.
Okay.
If you want to.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Marty's not on, actually. He's usually here.
AtlanticSeaColony.com. That's our website. What?
I'm surprised Marty's not here. You just kind of like blew it off like, oh, well.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. He's gonna miss us. Anyways, AtlanticSeaColony.com. Go there. You can find all of our socials. That's YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. All the good ones. Honestly, if you just look for Atlantic Sea Colony on anything, you'll find us. If you're not already following us on those, chances are the reason that you're looking at this or seeing this is because you are. But hey, you know what would be really cool? Share it with your friends. Let them know. Say, hey, do you have a minute to hear the good word about Atlantic Sea Colony?
Not say that. Are you knocking on the door?
Like it's those Atlantic Sea Colony guys again.
I'll send you guys brochures so you can walk around and do that.
Yeah, that'll be our next campaign, is just doing door-to-door stuff. Well, so we still have the merch store open, AtlanticSeaColony.com/merch. Like you said, we're working on updating that, switching suppliers or whatever, switching stores, however you want to say it.
Good night, Glenn. Thank you very much for your input. I definitely 100% dude. I do want to get over the next year, spring or something along those lines. And
Brendan's trying to make it a all-in-one trip because he really wants to go when the Starship's going too. So he wants to make it an all-in-one trip. Because
it doesn't have to
be. Say that like you will go once it's going. Then you'll drive there and it'll get postponed. But yeah, sorry. AtlanticSeaColony.com/merch. If you want to get some supplies, we got tons of stuff there. Like I said, we're going to get all that stuff updated on the next one. Different ways you can help. Patreon.com/AtlanticSeaColony. You can join at 5, 10, or I'm sorry, 5, 15, and 25. The different tiers there. I'll put the ticker on the bottom here in just a second. Sorry, I'm out of order today. PayPal. If you want to do a
you said ticker, not Tigger.
Oh yeah, I'm just like, if you want to make a one-time donation, you can go to paypal.me/AtlanticSeaColony. Any amount, $1 to $1 million. I mean, if you want to put $1 million in there, I mean, let's do it. We'll make sure to put your name on the next live stream and give you a shout out.
You'll get a little bit more than the name on the live stream. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, we'll send you a T-shirt and all that. No, so yeah, if you just want to make a one-time donation, whereas the Patreon is a. Oops, I need to switch those around. That's why it happened. Okay, what the heck am I doing here? Sorry, my buttons are all mixed up over here. That's okay. Patreon.com/AtlanticSeaColony. That is your membership side. So, like I said, 5, 15, and 25 if you want to do a monthly. What are you smiling about over there?
There's problems over there.
Yeah, it's been a long day, bud. So anyways, thank you to our patrons, Edward Haas, Brian Acosta, Matthew Cathy, Martin Reese, S. Babe Hyde, and yours truly. I need to readjust mine. I got a notification saying something didn't go through. And my bank account we've been switching banks, so I keep getting these messages, so I'll have to fix that. So don't take my name off there yet, Brendan. I will make sure it's adjusted.
Okay. I just checked. You're still good.
Okay. But yeah, those are all the different ways you can support us. And, as corny as it sounds, the best way to...
Yes, babe, I think he is.
What does narked mean?
It's like narcosis, when you get like drunk from being too deep underwater in the nitrogen.
I mean, I'm only halfway through one drink, so I shouldn't be that. But
you're taking your mask off underwater, trying to make out with fish and all that kind of stuff.
Is that a thing? Does that happen?
Yeah.
Make out with fish?
I mean, you're like drunk.
Anyways, now you just made me lose my train of thought. No, but like I said, the easiest way that you guys can help is just keep sharing this with people. Like, share our posts, or when we go live, share that, on your social medias and stuff. And, one thing that, that we even do is like if we see discussion out there on social media or stuff like that talks about underwater stuff or like unique hotel things, we're kind of going out there and be like, hey, there's this company Atlantis Sea Colony, like we kind of tag ourselves in it to try to direct some traffic towards us, because Brendan sees it a lot, because it's like you see like these news articles be like, oh, is living underwater the future? And they talk about like all the sci-fi stuff or something like that. And then, Brendan will link us in there and be like, hey, our company actually is trying to do this. It's not crazy, trying to get traffic in that way. So yeah, sharing what we're doing is one of the biggest helps. And obviously money speaks a lot, but we also talked a lot today about money's not the only thing that is going to drive this business either. So, whatever participation you guys can do, whether it's just sharing our stuff or donating, whatever it is, we appreciate it. It always helps. So that's all I got. We're doing every 2 weeks.
Pretty much, yeah.
18th, we'll be back on the 18th.
And I was just talking to Babe, and we may be doing Babes on the 18th. We'll see.
Perfect. And we'll have to decide if Halloween falls on the 31st, if we're going to do another spooky live stream like we did last year. So we'll talk about that. Well, maybe I'll pop in on the next one. We'll talk about it for a minute, if at the end or something, if we decide that's what we're going to do. But yeah, so hopefully we'll see Babe here pretty soon.
Yeah.
But all right, guys, thank you guys for jumping in, chatting with us. As always, go to our Discord. Brendan, throw that link in there real quick.
I have it ready right now.
Join the conversation, guys. Other than that, take care, and we will see you in Dose Weeks. Dose Weeks. I didn't have my outro ready. Did you take it off? Oh no, you didn't. Sorry. Bye.